So I decided to pop in.
Hey, Mark.
Hey,
So what do you do?
I am a business coach.
Oh, cool. I just started getting into coaching myself, so that's kind of new for me, doing the coaching thing. Um, I run a website design company
Okay.
and I also have a brand called DoorGrow that targets, the website company is called Open Potion.
Okay.
And I'll put the URL here. Mohammed, welcome to Blab. And so we do websites for small business owners. Our focus is on building awesome relationships and incredibly effective websites. That's our why. That's what we're all about. And what that means is basically we build websites that are really effective, which means we need to know the principles that affect conversions and make small business websites work well. And usually the goal is to make sure they're making money, right? It's usually what people want. Whereas most web designers are just graphic designers. All right, so that's that. Then I have a brand called DoorGrow where I target a specific niche of property management companies, and I help these property management businesses and entrepreneurs level up their business. So usually that means starting with a little bit of coaching, getting into website, and then into marketing. Because a lot of times I can't really build as effective of a website unless they really are solid in who they are and what they want and what their marketing message is, which really should come from that sort of purpose, right? So
hmm
so I help them find that out, and then I'm blowing up their businesses sometimes 30 times the amount of leads and deals. So it's really awesome stuff. So tell me about. So now that's my little intro for everybody that's just joining us or watching the video. Mark, tell me a little bit about you and I guess your brand Smarter Mojo.
Smarter Mojo, and that's my website.
Cool.
The idea is to take science, technology, all kinds of different things, and help people do things smarter and better.
Okay.
I'm a I have an MBA and an MS in technology. Plus, I'm a certified hypnotist, certified in NLP, and
Nice.
a certified life coach.
You have all kinds of certifications. I have no certifications.
Yeah, well, plus I have a bunch of computer ones, but those are older.
Okay. So I think we have some common ground here between you and I.
Yeah, I used to teach web design.
So I have my company's virtual, so I'm pretty nerdy. I love technology. Technology is fun for me, and I'm always helping business owners figure out how to leverage technology because it's a lot cheaper than people. I'm
hmm
sure you do the same, which is cool. Okay, and I came from an IT background a long time ago. I've worked for HP, worked for Verizon, and honestly, I hated IT. IT was the worst. Like you could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in IT and you're still the bitch of the company. Like 3 a.m. a server goes down, it doesn't matter. Like you're getting out
You're
of
on
bed and
you're
taking
on
care of
call and
it.
you're stuck.
Exactly. And if you do your job perfectly, it doesn't matter how amazing you are. If you do your job perfectly, nobody knows you exist. Like they don't even think you're doing anything. I think you're sitting in your office just clicking nothing and playing video games all day. So, and then if stuff goes bad, they all blame you. So can be a challenging balance of trying to figure out how to let people know you're doing something well and toot your own horn, which a lot of IT guys are not really good at tooting their own horn. So cool. So Mark, do you have a business challenge? You're a business coach, and coaches, do you get coached?
Yeah, I have a coach that I sit with and talk about things because it's always good to kind of get out there and get a different opinion of what's going on.
Yeah, I think a good little piece of knowledge that I learned a long time ago is don't work with a business coach or a coach that doesn't have a coach, like, or doesn't you regularly get coached because they don't believe in coaching.
hmm
I mean, there's kind of a lack of integrity there. So do you have any challenges in your business or leads flowing and everything's awesome? And
No, I'm just kind of right now in the midst of rebuilding. I'm wanting to put together some, because I want to move from sitting down and spending a lot of time with individual people to the point of being able to have product that are part of a funnel. And so it's taking me a while to build all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, similar thing. There's a lot that goes into it. Learning funnels, learning list building, content creation, then maybe webinars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so many pieces to the puzzle. So yeah, I get it. Like, and then creating the space to create all this content means that I would have to take time away from my sales and my existing companies and that sort of thing. And that's my biggest mistake that's my first mistake as a coach that I made. So you learn through failures. My first failure was I'm going to take on a bunch of like coaching clients, and I took on like 4 or 5 coaching clients one-on-one, and I was doing like 2 hours a week with these people, and that added at least 10 to 15 hours extra to my schedule. And then I didn't have time to focus on my existing business and nearly burned it to the ground because I really was enjoying coaching and wanted to deliver, but I wasn't leveraging, group coaching or, some other tactics that coaches have been at this game a while. Like, no, like it's obvious. Rookie mistakes. I made a bunch of rookie mistakes, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, creating the space. So one thing that I'm looking at doing and planning on doing is to sell the course before you create it, because then people want to buy it. And so what I did is I put out onto Facebook and some other marketing channels and some things asking like what people want. But I have an advantage because I've worked with certain segments and certain target groups, and I've worked with hundreds of business owners, and they all come to me saying what they want. So I know like what they're looking for. And so I know what problem they're hoping to solve. Because they'll say, I want a website. And then I ask them, well, why do you want a website? Like, what do you think a website's going to do for you? Mm-hmm. Because most graphic designers are just going to build a website that's pretty. And it's not necessarily a bridge to anywhere. It's a bridge to nowhere most of the time. So what do you want? And usually it's more leads, sales, these kind of things. Okay. Is the website then the right way to go about getting that? Maybe it's not. So then we talk about what they've tried, what they've been doing. So if you create a course if you create like a webinar first, figure out how to create an effective webinar. So Russell Brunson's got this perfect webinar that he puts out, which looks pretty good. So I'm going to create something like that. But then you create this webinar. This is my plan. Create the webinar. Once I have some of the things that I know that I'm going to be putting into this, create the webinar, put it out there, get some people to come to it, and then see if it sells. I mean, worst case scenario, I just build a list of people that want the product. But if I can sell it, if I can close, even just if I can get 100 people to a webinar, close 10%, 10 people, and get at, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000 or whatever for a course or something that I want to put out there that I know is going to level up their business significantly. And I've already, because of the coaching that I've done and the things that I've done, I've already got like interviews and videos with them talking about results. Like one guy going from 2 to 4 deals a month to closing 30 in 2 months, right? So I have some results under my belt that I can point to, and video proof and stuff like that I can leverage in that. So now if I go and put out this webinar, I can hopefully close a certain percentage. And if I close a certain percentage, then let's say I went small with this, and I felt I could generate an extra $1 million in business for these guys, and I did a course for $1,000 or $2,000 first time around, and I closed 10. That give me like 20 grand extra in my pocket, which would easily allow me to take off a week or two to just create the content.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would know if it sells. Instead, the worst thing I've heard of people doing is go and create this big whole thing and think it's badass and awesome, and then nobody wants it. And they've spent all this time, energy, and resources. There's so many business owners that do it in that way, and they think everybody's going to love what they have, but they haven't tested it. You might as well sell it first, and then you can do it live. Do it live. Mm-hmm. You get a group. You do it live each week. You're creating the content. Get a small group. Do it through Hangouts. Hangouts on air. Record it, and then you can. You'll have the content. So some of my videos that I use with my coaching clients were group calls. Put these group calls together and on Hangouts, and then it was recorded, and I did a training because I had the PowerPoint set up and everything else. And I was training like 3 or 4 people at a time, and they had some good questions, which leveled up the training that I was providing. And then I gave that video to some of my coaching clients, and they've been able to level up their business just from that video. So I have that content. So if I created a program, just started coaching, just started, sharing this with business owners and going through it, then I would have this content already as I go through the process. Or you just sell them on a course that's live, but record it. And then if the content's good, you can go back and make the course out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got it.
Right. And even if it's not, even if you don't take the recording, but take what was said and put it into course and then add your own slides to the top of it or make it into a book.
Yeah. I mean, as a coach, I'm sure you've seen this a lot more than me since I'm new to that game, but you've probably seen like a lot of your best ideas come when you're coaching somebody. Mm-hmm. Like stuff comes to you and you're like, man, I didn't even think of that. Or stuff has an impact that you didn't perceive value in that they saw a lot of value in.
That's right.
It really benefited them. Like my sales training, that was just what I used to do, like how I sold websites. And websites is a competitive industry, right? Really competitive. I'm competing with India and Philippines, right? And I'm closing deals between like typically anywhere from like 6 to 12 grand, somewhere in that range for websites, which I thought was pretty badass. And but where I'm competing with these dudes in India and Philippines to do it for dollars, but it's not, people aren't buying what I do. They're buying the why behind it, which is build websites that are effective, not just pretty, right? Which is different. And we handle content. We do things different. So cool. So Mark, I don't know if those ideas are helpful, but that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. Which is we're kind of playing a similar game here to escape the time for dollars and leverage some video content and stuff like that. So hopefully that's helpful.
That's kind of what I'm working on. I'm also just finishing up a book, so that'll be kind of part of the funnel.
Cool. Yeah. So I noticed Russell Brunson, a lot of these guys are offering free books lately. This is the trend. Free book with shipping, so you get them to pay something. Mm-hmm. Then they're in their funnel, and they've spent, so they're qualified. So I've been reading the .com Secrets book. All right, cool. So, Mark, anything else in your business what's your biggest challenge right now?
Just getting customers in general, and part of it is figuring out the best way to move somebody from first meeting them into actually spending money.
Okay, how do you first meet people?
Generally, it's networking. I go to a bunch of networking groups and things like that.
Okay. And so you get a lot of business cards and you're shaking hands kind of a thing?
Yeah, I get a lot of business cards, shake hands. I try to set appointments when I first meet them, so kind of bypass the process of, trying to contact them later. But I also have a system where once I get the business card, I take a picture of it with my phone. It ends up in my email list. It ends up in invites to them and things like that.
Okay. So what's your first interaction with them that you're scheduling an appointment for, and how long is it usually?
It's usually about a half hour, maybe sometimes runs to an hour. And it'll be a sit down, and kind of the premise behind it is, let's get to know each other so we can help each other.
So what I've found really effective, I'm really a big believer in multi-interactions. And one of the number one things I've noticed in sales that's increased my close rate, increased the dollar amount that I can close people on, is just the number of interactions I've had with them. not how much time I've spent with them, but the overall time of between interactions counts just as much as the time on the interactions. And so process of multiple interactions spread out over time has been like a game changer. So what I usually like to do is start with a 15-minute call. Mm-hmm. And I call this the fit call. And I tell everybody that this first 15-minute call is it's just going to be 15 minutes. I almost always stick with that. I try to really stick with that. And what I do is the purpose of this first 15-minute interaction with them is just to see if we're a good fit for each other. And I position it like that basically I'm trying to qualify them. And I tell them that. I just want to see if I'm a good fit for what you're looking to get done, and just hear high level what you're interested in, and see if it makes sense for us to have a longer conversation or not. And if so, we'll schedule a 1-hour conversation. So I kind of flip the script. I find it a lot more effective because then they get on the call, and I always preface that at the very beginning. I say, I'd say, hey, Mark, I'm glad we're able to get together on this phone call. The purpose of this first call is just to take 15 minutes and see if we'd be a good fit for each other. And if so, maybe we would schedule a longer conversation. If not, we'll part as friends, and it's all good. And then I would get into some Sandler sales tactics and maybe do an upfront contract with them. Like, at any time, if you don't feel like we're a good fit, just let me know, and we'll just call it a day, and it's cool, right? And we don't waste each other's time. Sound fair? And they usually say, yeah, sounds fair. Mm-hmm. And then we get into, and then we talk for like 15 minutes. I hear about their business, say, yeah, you know what? If they sound like the type of person I would like to spend time with or work with, because I want to find people that are like me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to work with people that aren't like me, that have different value sets. So if they're pushy, or they're just asking for price, or things like this, that tells me they don't perceive value, or they're not maybe a good fit. There's certain indicators. And so I've got my list in my mind, and then I just go on, I schedule the 1-hour next interaction.
Mm-hmm. And psychologically, that idea of it's almost like them having to qualify themselves makes them want to spend time with you more.
The reality is they do have to qualify themselves. Like, I'm not desperate for business. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to be desperate if I could be desperate for business, and I could beg for their business.
Well, and that's counterproductive
for business. Exactly. It doesn't work well anyway. So and the reality is we might not be a good fit for each other. They might not like me. I'm an asshole sometimes. Mm-hmm. I might punch them in the face and say, you're doing everything wrong, and that's okay. If they're not a good fit for me, if we don't mesh, then it's totally cool. No one wants to work with people that are desperate. Exactly. Like, nobody, needy is creepy. Needy is creepy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
We learned that from dating.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't show up you wouldn't, go up to a girl and say, hey, let's spend an hour together right now. You'd probably spend a couple minutes with her, saying a couple things, saying, hey, maybe we should set up a time. That was a big game changer for my business. All right, cool. So Mark, any other challenges in your business, or do you have a question still?
No, it's just more of, again, making the time to do all of these things. And I kind of work on what I do. A lot of it is trying to change the way people feel, and to be able, when you don't feel like doing something, we can change those feelings and do things that we don't at one time didn't want to do, by changing the motivation and the feelings behind it.
Yeah, I think if you can connect with the why, if you can figure out the purpose, for me, then you're willing to do the work required if you can connect it to what people want. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, cool. Anybody else want to pop in here? Anyone have a question, their biggest business challenge, or a topic that might be interesting maybe for a future blab? I'm trying to get some topic ideas here. Mark, you have a good topic idea?
So what is it that you're trying to accomplish with all of this?
I just want to figure out kind of what, in general, and maybe the people on Blab or the marketplace, those that are on here, what their biggest questions are. Because some of these I may have solutions to, and some of these I may not. But if I do, then that would be an interesting topic for me to discuss in the future. Mm-hmm. So I guess you had mentioned creating time is kind of a challenge.
Well, and there's another good topic is kind of the ability to be able to remove yourself, like we talked about, from having to exchange hours for money.
Okay. Moving yourself from the business.
Yeah, and just creating, being able to make it passive rather than active.
Yeah. Yep, making the business more passive. I mean, the first natural step that a lot of people do is they hire somebody, which is a possibility as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can take any business and make something a little more passive by getting rid of the stuff you don't like doing. Like, I hate creating proposals for website projects. It's not fun for me, so I have somebody do it. Somebody on my team does that. Yeah. So, do you have any virtual like team members or employees or anything like that?
Not at the moment.
So you're solopreneur.
Right. I've done quite a bit of work in trying to automate some of the stuff so that it happens without my having to worry too much about it. But okay. I don't have anybody that actually works for me.
The challenge I found with automation, like I bought Infusionsoft and I was just so excited about automation. Then I realized in order to automate, you have to have like your processes defined first. And I was like, man, I can't use this yet. I'm not ready to use this because I don't have some of these things defined. And you really have to have like it created before you can go and build it. You have to have it created, I don't know what you'd call it, spiritually or planned or mapped out. So cool. Will somebody want to pop into the hot seat? Somebody have a question with their biggest business challenge? And maybe we've got a good topic for the future, or maybe we've got a solution here and now. Somebody want to pop into the hot seat? We've got a few people that are lurking here. Lend2TX, FHA, VA, USDA, conventional and home buyer down payment assistance for qualified buyers, approved lender. Okay. All right. Lend2TX. Do you have a name?
Robert Lewis. Nice to meet you, buddy. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. So, Robert, what's your biggest business challenge?
My question, and this is the biggest challenge, just don't like meeting with people as much as I did in the past.
Okay.
Was a pharmaceutical rep for years, and I always pressing the flesh. And so online, what is your opinion or thoughts on that? Trying to bring my process to an online process. I kind of like your 15-minute, 1 hour type conversation.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. Mm-hmm. You don't like meeting with people, like face-to-face, you mean?
Well, when I say people, I mean realtors. Realtors really drive the business as far as, folks coming to them for loans and things of that nature. And so as I'm trying to grow the list of realtors that I want to work with, I think I kind of have the same mindset that you have. I don't want to work with everyone. So don't mind meeting with people, but there's a lot of time wasted, coffee and buying lunch and this, that, and the third. So being that we're going to a more online presence, just wanted to see what your thoughts were on trying to keep it online.
Yeah, I get it. So in your industry, there's a lot of whining and dining, right? These realtors, giving them promotional products, bringing them donuts, trying to keep yourself ever present in their mind to remind them that you exist, right?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe if there was a way to digitally do that as opposed to always having to go and like shake hands and bug them and bring them donuts and drop stuff off at their office and take them out to lunch, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I think that's a good topic. That's a good topic. Like how to leverage time, creating relationships.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Digitally.
Yes.
Now, one of the things I realized when I started doing coaching is that it takes a ton of time. A ton of time I didn't even really have or want to take. I nearly burned my web design business to the ground because I really loved coaching and I wanted to do it. It was really fulfilling, but I couldn't devote that much one-on-one time unless they were paying me a lot more money than they were paying me, right? So, and initially I was charging them like $2,000 a month, but that's not enough, because my website design business, like, I don't do the websites. I have a whole team. I've got writer, graphic designer, project manager, and they do this stuff. So that doesn't take, I get on a website project, it doesn't take a ton of my time. I've got people I can pay to do that. Whereas one-on-one coaching was like pure me. Mm-hmm. The margin's higher because it's just me. Mm-hmm. But it needs to be, I would have to charge a lot more if I were going to, because time is that made me wake up that time's my scarcest resource. And you're feeling that, it sounds like. So, yeah, so I would imagine, like, if you made a list of all the things from small amount of time to bigger and bigger chunks of time, the bigger and bigger chunks of time, things that you do should be making you more money. These should be people that are close to the end of the sales cycle or sales process. But right now, probably is somewhat of the reverse. You're spending a bunch of time and energy with people that are almost prospects before they get to that stage. And then it probably doesn't take as much time.
Correct.
So how do we flip that, right? So how do we flip that? Yeah, that's a good topic. So do you have a CRM currently? You keep track of these people in?
I do. I mean, I'm still an old Outlook guy, so I use spreadsheets, things of that nature. I actually have an assistant, and I have a loan officer as well. So just to be a little more focused, and to be more specific as far as my question is concerned,
okay,
I'm using this technology to I want to cut the middleman out. I see the realtor as being the middleman and going directly to the customer. But because of all of the years of advertising, most people think you have to go to a realtor first when you want to buy a house, right? So, we're the one that does pretty much all the heavy lifting when it deals with the financing of the home, unless you have cash. So I'm just trying to ask you, as someone that, is online, do you think using the platform to make sure you have the same ethics and characteristics and the type of personality that you need to have when I'm wanting to deal with somebody, because I'm hard to deal with as well sometimes. And I just don't want to deal with everybody. So that's kind of what I wanted to see, if you thought the online platform could be good at doing that, to weeding those folks out.
Yeah, I think the online platform is really good at that. And here's why. Like, a lot of us are really afraid to just put ourselves out there and be vulnerable and say it. Like, not a lot of guys would get on here and go, I nearly burned my website business to the ground when I started coaching, right?
Right.
Yeah, so when you put it out there, like who you really are, you're going to polarize people. And so part of it may just be to start creating content, like on a daily basis. Okay. You just put some content out there. You pick a channel. It could be LinkedIn. It could be Facebook, whatever. First, like, let's talk. So this would be a good topic, and this is a topic I teach clients, coaching clients when I'm talking about sales. But I like to use the analogy of hunting. And if you want, like, to go right for the kill and go hunting, you could go get guides, right? And guides can tell you where the animals are, and you could go get somebody and have them fish for you and stuff like that. So they're always your gateway to the client. Or you can figure out, how do I go find these people directly? Where do they hang out? And I don't know where your potential target group hangs out, but if you know where they hang out and you can know where they're at online, then you can go find them and target them. Then it's just a matter of interrupting them. And how do you interrupt them? I like to punch people in the face. So what does that mean? In the loan industry, dirty secrets, right? Unethical stuff that people in your shoes can do or do.
Right.
So what do? You expose that shit. Like, you just go out there, you post some Facebook videos, and I think you keep it personal. So what do? Your personal Facebook page, you somehow figure out how to start friending a bunch of, like, people that are like real estate investors or whoever you're prospectively targeting. And then once you've got several of these people as friends, and find influencers in that space in your local market. Okay. Like, who are the big fish? Make your, like Russell Brunson talks about making your Dream 100 list. And he talks about these as like big influencers. Like I'd love to have Grant Cardone. If you're hanging out, Grant Cardone, you see this sometime, come pop in here with me and let's hang out. Because I target property management companies in under one of my brands. And that'd be cool because he's in real estate, right?
Right.
So that would be Dream 100 list, or could be people that make you look really badass because they're really badass in the industry, and you associating with them levels you up, makes you look like you're higher level. Gotcha. So it could be doing stuff like that. It could be interviewing people, or the other thing that I've been doing is making a Dream 100 clients list. And so, for example, in the residential property management space for my DoorGrow brand, I'm targeting influencers in the property management space. What's the organization? The trade organization is NARPM, N-A-R-P-M, the National Association of Residential Property Managers. So what I do, I'm a member of that organization.
Okay.
My company's joined it as an affiliate member, which means we're a vendor, right, that provides, marketing websites and whatever to that category. Then I'm connecting with influencers in that space. So other people that target who I target. So realtors maybe target the same people that you target. So making relationships is a good idea. Mm-hmm. But you're saying you want to create some other, so all your eggs aren't in that one bucket. But then I'm also connecting with property managers that are influencers, because it runs like a chamber of commerce. So you've got the board and the people at the top and the president. These are property management business owners. And so I'm friending these people on Facebook. I don't know if they'll accept my friend request, but this is the game I'm playing. Right. And then I'm going to start it once they see me on Facebook and I'm connected. I'm just going to put out useful content so they kind of get familiar with me and they know me.
Gotcha.
And then they'll start feeling familiar with me. And then maybe occasionally I'll reach out to them or pitch or something. But I just want to start building the relationships. So in your industry, like if you don't have a CRM, I think this would be a game changer for you. So I would check out Contactually.
Contactually. Okay.
Yep. I should have an affiliate link for these guys. Right.
And actually HubSpot's got a free one.
HubSpot's got a free one, but for the real estate industry specifically and for building relationships, Contactually is going to be a game changer. And Contactually is different than most CRMs. One thing that I like about it is it pulls in, and I used to use it quite a bit, but it pulls in your emails. If you have like a Google or Google Apps email account, it pulls those emails in automatically. So you don't have any CRM that you have to BCC shit into is like garbage, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Too much work, right?
Nah. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. And even if you automatically set it to BCC all the time, that seems like such a shitty way. Why can't it connect into your email and just pull them in? So Contactually will pull in the emails. And then the other cool piece that Contactually works well with, integrates with, is this company called BombBomb.com.
I've heard of them, yeah, BombBomb.
And BombBomb, in my opinion, is a game changer. Like you're a good looking dude. You sound pretty comfortable talking with people.
And I'm terrified. I'm stepping out of my zone, even getting on here with you guys. So man,
just start doing it. Like you're a human, and this isn't like too difficult. I'm wearing a wrinkled T-shirt on a blab. Like I should have like a professional business looking shirt on. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
You just do it. So, but if you're just real, here's the biggest game changer for creating relationships is to be real and raw and relevant.
Gotcha.
That's it.
3 R's, right? I'm writing this stuff down, man. So hopefully you're not going to charge me for it, man. Real, raw, and relevant.
That's it. Like, just be real, which means tell the fucking truth.
Right.
Be raw, which means honestly express emotion.
No doubt.
And then, right? So logic, emotion, just be real in those areas, and then be relevant, which means figure out what they want, figure out what you want.
Gotcha.
Just tell people what you want. I want to find people that blah, 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 blah. Gotcha. I'm looking for people that are looking for a loan and don't want to get, bent over by a real estate agent or whatever it is. I don't know.
And that's why I'm stepping out this year and doing this, and I'm going to get off and let somebody else get on. But just tired of all of the talking heads that don't know what they're talking about. I've never done any advertising. It's always been word of mouth. But people are lying. And, I'm just tired of it, man. Just somebody needs to
BombBomb
come
will
and
be
tell
cool
me.
because
Yeah,
here's what you can do with BombBomb. BombBomb, you can put people into buckets. So you can segment your list and drop them into buckets. You'll create buckets, and you'll have buckets, which you'll have like your realtor partners bucket. You'll
gotcha.
have your direct like prospect bucket, your Dream 100 bucket. Just create some different buckets, these lists of people. And then each bucket, you'll set a time to write, like a time limit. So say, for example, your real estate partners, you want to reach out to these people once a week, maybe.
Gotcha.
And so
Gotcha.
you set it to a time limit to once a week. Then Contactually will tell you when to reach out to people. So you have this list each day saying you need to send an email or call the following people.
So I can be focused. Perfect,
And
man.
so it's a CRM, but it's not a CRM that's reactive to you. It's a CRM that tells you what to do.
Gotcha.
And so you can go in and start following up on people. And then you can also like just send out, you can have template emails, but you can just send them links, like find something relevant or useful to them, an article, anything, and say, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. This is all about real estate in this market. Or, hey, I saw this and I thought about you. And you just send them a quick note. Hey, I was thinking about the other day. And you just send them a note. And so you just follow up and send them something every day. But if you're not keeping track of what you've communicated, you might say the same things. And that's the advantage of a CRM. So I think that'd be a game changer for you.
Jason, Mark, I appreciate it, man. One other topic that might be good.
Yeah.
Keyword searching, how to optimize. I think that's the term or whatever.
SEO.
Yeah, SEO. That's still something that I run into a lot, and a lot of these agents that I'm talking to still don't have a clue on it. So that might be something that's still relevant even in 2016 to us regular folks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Search engine optimization. Such a spammy word lately, or it has been. All right, cool. Well, hey, it was good to meet you, Robert. Hey, change your name on here to Robert. So people know your name. Get your name out there.
I'm going to do that as soon as we get that out, get off here, man. So I appreciate you, Jason.
Cool. All right. Appreciate you too. Thanks for popping in.
Later.
All right, cool. Cool, Mark, you're hanging out. You're like my silent homie here. You're welcome to chime in if you want to, or you can pop off. Who else would like to pop in? Who has a question? Your biggest business challenge right now. Daniel, empowering people to take charge of their own learning, committed to sharing best practice in digital literacy skills, theembrace.com. The Embrace. That sounds intimate, Daniel.
It's the first time I've heard that being said.
Yes, it's the first time you've heard what?
About the Embrace. It's an ongoing joke at the moment.
Oh,
yeah, no, because people think I'm doing something else digitally with the Embracing technology.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my biggest challenges this year is going to be changing the mindsets of businesses, because over the past 2 years, I've been training educationalists and also solving digital problems within businesses. But this year, we're really pushing it out to actually simplifying how businesses can embrace technology, and it is about changing the mindset. We're going to be doing a few workshops. We're going to be doing our first blog, our first blab, at the end of the month. But it is a kind of challenge.
Why are you waiting until the end of the month to do your first blab?
Because it's all part of the 90 day program that we've actually set together, because I work in a Apple regional training center, and I also work with Adobe. So when all the new software comes out, it's trying to pitch it in such a way that you're not promoting a product or you're not promoting a piece of software. What you're doing is just saying to businesses, okay, what I want you to do is to make a commitment to learn something new today, and make a commitment to, that you want to be digital instead of putting your head in the sand. And it's quite challenging. It's been quite challenging for the past 2-3 years. More so, not. I mean, I'm fully qualified to do it. As I say, I'm an Adobe trainer. I'm a mentor. I'm a lecturer. I write iBooks and stuff like this, and it is quite good, but it is difficult to say the least.
So hey, Mark, I'm gonna pop you out so I can bring him up top here.
Okay.
All right, thanks for popping in. First guy. All right. So Daniel, so what's the challenge?
Well, the challenge is
the biggest challenge.
The challenge is it's not actually pitching
So pitching's not the challenge.
Pitching's not the challenge because the thing is, we pitch it all the time. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I am all part of Digital Leaders Southeast, which is part of the southeast of the country. We have salons where businesses come. Everybody wants to know what's happening, and everybody wants to know what's new, and everybody wants to know. I'm like a doctor where you keep on plugging the gaps because they go, oh, this is not working, that is not working, and my whole IT department's left. Now what do I do? But it's actually this now changing the mindset in the sense where you just saying to people, look, this is a simplified version of understanding technology, but still putting value to it because you still want to put a price to it. And the lower the price you go, the more you devalue it. The higher the price you go, the more digital tech terminologies you've got to bring in. And when you do that, you scare your market group away.
Okay, so Daniel, I think what you're saying in a really roundabout way, that the challenge that your biggest challenge is targeting people to help them with technology without scaring them away, because technology can sound complicated. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah. I mean, I've got my target group. I've got an actual captured target group.
Okay.
With all the people, the people on the waiting list, people wanting to come, things like that. But it's actually this when you're doing a workshop that's like for example, when I teach in education, all the headmistresses and the heads of school, they send all the teachers, and they have to come. They have to learn. Otherwise, they lose their jobs. They have to go back, and they've got to show they use it.
So you've got this forced audience, is what you're saying?
Yeah, in education, I do.
And then the challenge then probably is engagement is probably pretty low?
No, because we make it because we use a lot of tech, so we can. I have to change every lesson. I have to do things completely different every single time to keep them engaged all the time. But this new one for this year is with businesses, and the thing with businesses is I've been to so many workshops where it's death by PowerPoint, or they're doing social media and they don't.
So
use
those are other people's challenges, though. So do you have a challenge?
My challenge is actually changing their mindset once I've got them there.
So once you have them there, you can pitch them, you get them there, the challenge then is changing their mindset about technology?
Yeah, within a very short period of time, because I only have 4 hours to this is what we're going to be doing for the day. I send out I do a digital audit on them before they come, so I know exactly what their skill sets is. But it is still the situation where I'm not sure how it relates in America, but in the UK, a lot of the older English businessmen, they're coming along to see what other people are doing. They're coming along to see what's it all about and what they can actually get out of it. Then it is this thing where because it challenges their identity. When you say, look, you've got a smartphone, you've got to use it today. And that's when it starts,
Daniel, are you open to feedback?
Oh, yeah. I'm always open to feedback.
Kind of punch you in the face. So, you say a lot of stuff, and you're really not clear. You're talking, you're telling me lots of stuff about your business.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I think that would be really helpful, this is just feedback, but from a business standpoint, people don't care what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking all what you do. Here's what we do. And people really don't care, because all they care about is what's in it for them.
Right.
And they don't care about you. They don't care about what you do. They care about who you are and why you're doing what you do. And if that resonates with them, and if they believe what you believe, they will follow you to the ends of the earth, and they'll listen to what you have to say.
Right.
So Simon Sinek has this great video that is called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And he wrote this book called Start With Why. I think that book would be a killer for you, because I think you focus on such what level things, and people don't care. Like, they don't care about technology until they see personally how it can benefit them. And if you can find out their pain and then explain that pain. So I think the problem's not them. Like you're saying, how do I connect with them? And they're the problem. The problem is figuring out so that you're communicating in a way that targets their pain. Because if they're in pain with technology, and so maybe their pain is that they are resistant to technology. Technology feels like change. It's scary. It's big. It's ugly. Whatever. Then if you can address that, then they will be interested. How can we make technology fun and easy for you? I know a lot of you are feeling scared about technology today. My purpose, Daniel, my purpose at the embrace.com or whatever is to help people figure out how to make technology feel safe or comfortable or whatever. Now, the number one factor I found in adoption, because adoption is the number one killer of software, right?
Yeah.
Everybody implements these great tools that do all these whats, but nobody gives a fuck. Like, nobody cares, nobody does anything, or will use it. You can have this great CRM and throw it at your sales team. The number one indicator of whether or not a software is going to be working or be successful is simply adoption, ease of adoption. How intuitive is it? That's it. And so if you can, I think, one, you need to make sure that you're leveraging whatever software you're pushing people to needs to be incredibly intuitive, or you're going to just lose people left and right. Like, their eyes will gloss over, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, this looks crazy and complicated.
Yeah.
And then you need to focus and keep it super simple, like focus on keeping it super simple and where they're at. And then you need to speak their language. If somebody calls me up and says, hey, I want a website or I want to level up my business, and they use terms like web pages. Yeah, I got this new web page and I'm thinking of leveling up. Then I will first kind of start where they're at. Oh, well, what you're calling web pages, we would typically call a website. And I speak their language and go from where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, what I always start with my why. So my personal why as a human being is to inspire others to love true principles. And what that means to me is if I can find things that work, these are principles, true principles, things that work, things that get results, things that can be, one principle can go towards illustrating thousands of facts and data. That's fun. Like, that's exciting for me. I love finding those things. I love finding them in books. I love getting it from my coaches. I love finding these nuggets of wisdom. And then I love sharing them with other people. That's just fun for me. I'm doing it right now for free. I would do that for free for fun. And that's my why. My business why connects directly to that. And this is how I start my sales conversations a lot of times. I just get my why across. If I was doing a presentation, I would tell them my why. I would tell them the purpose, why I'm there. And if they don't have the same purpose or why, they won't resonate with me. But if I put out there my purpose first, my why, then I'll talk about how. Here's how we go about doing that.
Right.
We focus on simplicity. We focus on working only with clients that we love. Like, these are our values of how we go about achieving our why. And then you can get into what level stuff if they're even interested. But you can close deals just talking about your why and your how without even getting into the what's. And I think with technology, you need to figure out, you may want to just start surveying people, and at the beginning or outset of these conversations with these groups, just ask them what they want. What are your biggest challenges with technology? what do you guys hope? What are you hoping to get out of this? And they'll tell you what to talk to them
this
about.
Is one of the things, this is one of the reasons why we send out the digital audit first, that contains a video and audio, so they're clear on why they're doing the questionnaire, so that we got all the data before they actually come, and we can swing it either way.
Yeah, and that might be useful, but people are going to give different answers when they're real and raw, and like sitting there and you open up the floor and you're vulnerable with them and you create this space. Then if they get a worksheet that's
they get the workshop like before they come. Before they come.
Yeah, so even still, I think you're going to get different results if you ask them live.
Right. So they just
you need to get outside of the technology if you want to get them. You need to cross the bridge and connect with where they're at. And you're using technology to get data to then talk with them about technology. And then you're saying, well, why am I not able to bring them from non-technology land into technology land as easily? Start in non-technology land with them first.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is.
And just do some exploratory stuff there. Once you do enough of that, you'll have a sixth sense about it, and you'll know this. It's because it's the same. It'll be the same every time. Teachers, this is typically what teachers have an issue with. You can start your presentations with this. Are these your concerns? What do you guys
with teachers, we don't have any problem with the teachers. The teachers are much easier to do. I mean, we do.
I'm just throwing out one target group, whoever you target. So,
thank you.
Cool.
Oh yes.
So is that helpful
definitely,
or
relevant?
Definitely. That would be. So how could I turn this into a topic? What would the topic be?
Simplifying your technology needs.
Simplifying something I could talk with people about. Simplifying technology.
Simplifying technology in the workplace, or the language of technology. Because it is the language that is one of the biggest. I've been looking at Blab now for several months now, and I do like the tech. I do like some of the groups I join, but some of the groups, even as a techie, it just goes so far over my head. And I can watch it, but I wouldn't actually jump in because it just goes like this. And the same thing with these workshops are being sponsored, and the sponsor is an elderly gentleman. We have this code now when if I'm explaining something to him and it goes over his head, he just does this, and I tone it down. So it's kind of like it works that way. So
I think, Daniel, you need to ask more questions. Yeah, especially if you're teaching it or training. Like if you ask more questions, you will always know like where they're at. I think that's the challenge. By show of hands, who here in this group knows what Twitter is or has used Twitter? Or by show of hands, who here has a CRM? This kind of a thing. And then you get that real-time feedback, and you're like, oh, they don't know. I need to dumb this down and speak at their level.
Yeah, because I'm trying to stay away from things like Twitter and Facebook purely because it's all in their face already. It's kind of like how you can use apps to save you money.
Right. Whatever it is that you do talk with them about, or whatever benefit you have for them, I'm assuming that you've done some research. You know what problem they have, what problem you solve, and when you get together with them, your goal is to solve their problems. Otherwise you're irrelevant. So you want to be relevant, and the more relevant you are, the more they'll be interested, and the more they will listen, and the more they will buy what you have to sell or whatever your goals are. So and in order to be relevant, you got to know what they want. Like that's it. Like you got to what you want, and you need to get that across. And either that's more money or sales, or them to buy your technology package, or I don't know what you sell, and then you need to figure out what they want. What do they want? And if the two can cross over, you make money. and it works. If the two don't, then there's a disconnect, and it sounds like there might be a slight disconnect. So you just need to add relevancy into the mix, and I think you'll kill it.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, who else wants to pop in? Somebody else is trying to pop in here while I was talking with Daniel. And Daniel, hopefully this was useful to you.
No, I'm glad. I like constructive criticism, because the thing is it is one of those things where everybody's always, the thing with technology, you could sell it all day if you didn't care. But the thing is, when you do care, you kind of have to balance it out. So, well, thank you very much. I much appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Cool. Right. I'll let you pop off here. All right, cool. Seats open. Who wants to get on the hot seat? Your biggest business challenge right now. Help me find some cool topics. Do you have anybody have a question here in the group? They feel comfortable popping in. So a lot of the questions that I get as in my business usually revolve around key areas, because I'm usually working with business owners. And so business owners, entrepreneurs, usually it's sales, marketing, automation, like these types of things are probably the things business owners should be studying if they really want to level up their business. Because if you have sales, if things are flowing, money's coming in, everything else can be worked out. But if you don't have sales, you don't have lifeblood coming into your business, then you're screwed. That's it. Sales is king. You got to make sure you're closing deals. All right. So who else wants to pop into the hot seat here? Dr. William, you tried popping in before. You want to pop in? You have a question? Your biggest business challenge? All right, doctor. You're a doctor.
How are you?
Like Dr. Pepper.
Strategic
Good.
leadership.
What are you a doctor of?
Yeah.
Strategic
so I may have to pop
leadership.
out. I have little kids running around. So
that's okay. I'm hiding from my little kids. I played with them this morning, and now Mom's got them. So I'm having fun right now.
You were talking about topics to cover, and I see that you're involved in property management. One of the things that I'd like to hear feedback from you on is the process of acquiring customers when you decide to enter into a new market. So for me, my wife and I just moved from one city to another, and we're looking to restart the business that we had, but acquiring a customer is a little different because the region is different. People think differently here, and so we'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're pretty ambiguous.
So we were in
what sort of business
real
are
estate,
you in?
and we were acquiring real estate
business?
Through flipping.
Real estate, flipping. So was the previous market like? It was. What was different? I'm guessing
lower
demographically, lower dollar area,
bigger city, bigger opportunities, variety of opportunities. Where we live now, the opportunities I'm guessing still exist, but the demographics different, the housing market is different, the cost is different, the customer is different, and I haven't gotten a handle on the investors in the area yet where we're living.
Well, the investors are who you're targeting, right?
So it's the investors and the home sellers, the homeowners.
Okay. Right. People like distressed homes, people that want out, that kind of thing, cash for homes, that sort of game. Okay. Yeah, I've got some clients I've done websites for that kind of do that. So, well, I mean, it sounds like you mentioned like the biggest challenge is you don't know your market and you don't know your target group. But it sounds like that it's new to you. And so, so the solution is right there in the challenges. You need to know that stuff, right? You need to get clarity on those people and what they want. It goes back to relevancy again. You need to figure out what they want and figure out what their pain is. And what better way to do that than to start connecting with these people? So then you just got to figure out, where do they hang out? So you've got two different target groups that you mentioned, right? So you mentioned the investor. Hi, cute girl. Oh, did he pop out? Did we lose you? All right, so we'll answer his question, but you've got. I'm here. Okay, well you can listen. Daughters are welcome. I love that. I've got 3. So I'm crazy. So, but yeah, so you want to figure out your target groups. Figure out the ones that are going to make you money and focus on them first. And because I'm guessing if you have the properties, you can find the investors, perhaps. But maybe you need to do some initial research and some competitive analysis. And so one way to collapse time on this is to go find somebody in this market that's already playing this game. Just go, like, who else is flipping houses in your market? Just connect with them and say, hey, I'm new to the area. I'm looking at doing something similar. And I'm just be real and raw with them. I'm starting out, and just connect with them. If they don't want to connect, they're not open to talking, that sort of thing, that's fine. Find another market that has a similar demographic in a similar real estate market to your own, and find out who the badasses are in that market. You can look for them on LinkedIn. You can look for them wherever. Who's flipping houses in those markets that is successful? Because they can help you collapse time. Find a mentor, find a coach, find somebody in that market that is already doing what you're doing, and they're doing it well. Because you need to know this stuff, and they already know it. And even if you had to pay them, they can just give you that knowledge and collapse time. Or you can wander in the wilderness, right? So I see you've got a bunch of like Christian kind of stuff. So you could wander in the wilderness for 40 years or 10 trying to figure out the game in the area, which may have been how you kind of did it the first time around. But that's painful, and it takes a lot of time, energy, and whatever. So just like you want to collapse time, go find somebody else that already has the answers in your market. Or if you can't do that, find a similar market. What's the closest representation of your market? Is there another suburb like your suburb, or is there another big city like your big city? Is there another market that has a similar challenge going on? And reach out to them, reach out to people in that market. And then you just that's who you want to target initially, and then figure out, where do those people hang out? Are they on LinkedIn groups? Are there real estate LinkedIn groups? Maybe you want to check out biggerpockets.net, where there's a lot of real estate investors. And see. Interesting. Go to a competitor for help. Why would a competitor be willing to offer advice? You'd be surprised. Not every competitor has the mindset, but you can also do competitive analysis and fly below the radar. You're not in that game yet, then, you're popping back in. All right, here we go. Doctor. So if you're not in that game yet, in that area, and you're below the radar, so you have an advantage. You can do what's called competitive analysis. So you just start calling up different realtors in the area. Say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking at getting into real estate investing. That's not a lie, right? So whatever you say, make sure it's true. Don't be a liar. But you can say that, and you say, tell me a little bit about this market. What's going on in this market? Like, if I wanted to start flipping houses, are there good houses in this market? Is this a market to do that? Do you know any other agents that are really kind of playing that game and they're successful that I could talk to? I have some questions.
Yeah,
people are willing to help people out.
I'm a witness to what you're saying. Where we came from, I was very familiar with the market, so I did not stumble, as you referenced. But to the points that you made, asking people, asking other investors, asking competitors, you will be surprised. And I have helped people along the way when they've asked me. I agree. I think my challenge here is finding those people you are talking about. Where we are in the region that we're in, they're a little standoffish. So it's trying to break through, finding those right connecting points. We're trying to stay strategically where we are in terms of where we want to buy, and operate, the Connecticut market.
What market are you in?
Okay. Philadelphia.
And where'd you move from? Okay. So, So you went from big city Philadelphia to Connecticut.
Different game. And it wasn't because of the real estate market. We're here for religious reasons, as you highlighted. But regardless, you know, it's a different game.
So, yeah, I think you just need to start having some conversations with people. So what would that look like? See if there is like a real estate meetup group or a real estate invest group, or you got to find where these people hang out. So figure out who you want. You're going to go hunting. And if you want to go hunting for elk, you got to figure out where the hell the elk are, because you can't shoot at elk unless you know where they're at. So your elk are these people that have the knowledge that you want. That's what you're hunting initially. Go find these people, figure out where they're at. So there's websites like biggerpockets.net, where it's forums of just real estate investors, real estate people, property management companies where they play that game. You can, and people are always looking to make deals and find people to connect with. There's all kinds of people willing to help out. There's LinkedIn groups for real estate investors, things like that. And if you describe the makeup that you can figure out about your market, and there's lots of other markets that are probably similar, where people are playing a similar game in a similar market, and they can give you advice, and people just give it for free.
Mm-hmm.
People love doing that. Some of it will be useful, some of it will be garbage, but you'll be able to pick and choose. You've got some experience. You're a badass. You've been there. So you'll get back there again. You just need to know how the game is played and what the rules are in your area. Once you know the rules and know the game, then you can win.
I love that. Yep.
It's pretty simple, right?
Yep.
It's like figure skating.
You're right.
In the Olympics. It's annoying, right? Because they hold up a bunch of cards and you're like, what the hell? Like, how did they get this score? No clue. But you can watch basketball and like, you know what the score is, like real time.
You know what that means. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. So right now you're figure skating or you're watching figure skating. You have no clue because it's a new game. Like you got to figure out the game. So cool. Hopefully that's helpful. But I think that's a good topic, is just, how to, learn the game in a new market or new industry or.
Yep. It's good stuff, man.
Cool. Hopefully this was helpful. Appreciate the topic idea. Who else? I'll let you go.
Thanks, man.
Any questions, concerns, complaints, arguments?
No, I'm good. You
All
have
right.
a good one.
Go get it. All right, who's next? Who wants to pop into the hot seat? Your biggest business challenge. We might solve it right now. What is it? SnapRecruit. SnapRecruit, use our app to work with your team of recruiters. Manage applicants by collaborating in real time. Register now to get it for free. This promotion ends December 31st. So there's a whole year now. There's a whole year because December 31st happened. All right, so it's SnapRecruit. HP Touch Smart Webcam. Please start HP Touch Smart Webcam, your thing says.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Do you have a name? SnapRecruit?
Yes. My name is Vic.
Vic. Hey, Vic.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. So, Vic, what's your biggest business challenge?
I would say, I'm sorry, when you were reading through, I kind of heard that it's free for the next year. I think that December 31st just passed. Maybe it's time for my Twitter profile.
Yeah, there you go.
I would say, I wouldn't say it's a challenge, but I just started marketing the product. I have about 300 companies that register because it was for free. Now,
yeah.
Are
you trying to figure out how to turn them into dollars, or?
I wouldn't. Well, that, and on top of that, the newer users that I'm trying to cater to, how to get them to start trying the product, even though they have to pay for the first month. I mean, they have some free trial and stuff like that, but I guess the influx of users went down compared.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you launch, like, it's exciting and Usually you'll get a bunch of people and there's kind of a kickoff and a build up to it and that sort of thing. And then it's probably not going to be as strong later on. This is why people like talk about these big product launches and making sure you do launch right the first time, because you can't really, it's hard to launch over and over again, right?
Right.
Yeah. So is your business, so let me make sure I understand you. So your biggest business challenge is taking these 300 like free signups that you have, free trial or whatever, and getting them to start using the product or service?
Well, let me take a step back and rephrase that question.
Okay, cool.
I already have people using it, but just because they joined when it was a free promotion, they're still using it for free. There are two aspects to it. One would be conversion of the free users, the 300 companies that are using it. So there's about 500 people from 300 different companies that are using it. So the first challenge is how to convert them into a paid without having a lot of drop rate.
Hey, man.
All right. So, hey, Daniel, make sure your stuff's quiet while I'm talking to Vic here for a minute, and you'll be next. Cool? All right. I think he gave a thumbs up. I don't know what that was. All right. It was blurry. So Vic, you said one challenge is converting the free users, these 300 companies, into paying clients?
Yes, without a drop rate. I mean, there would be drop rate.
Yeah, there's no matter what, there's gonna be a drop rate. Yeah. Going from free to paying.
And the second challenge would be, I can just give you a timeline, just to give you a feel for what's the influx of users that are registering. In the past couple of months, I think I started marketing around November, and I have about 70 users that registered in November. December was pretty high. It went up to 200 users. Now, in January, because it's a paid app, I believe the users are still at around 50 that register, but not just because it's a paid app. I guess that's the second challenge, how to reach out to them. I did give them a free trial if they would like to try it, but I was just wondering what other ways could these numbers be increased and have repetitive customers, and also how to gain their interest to keep using the application more often.
A really great Blab person to follow on here, and maybe you already do. Have you been on Blab a while?
Actually, no. I just started trying over this weekend.
So, are you familiar with Basecamp? Have you ever heard of that software?
Basecamp, no.
You're really? Okay. So Basecamp is probably one of the most popular software, cloud-based software that's out there. I don't know anything about your service. Is it a cloud-based tool or a web-based tool?
It's a web-based tool.
Yeah, okay. So this Basecamp, the CEO of Basecamp, he's a badass in his industry. His name is Jason as well.
Mm-hmm.
And his blabs are usually called work in progress. And him and the CEO, his buddy, the CEO of Highrise, which is a CRM that he also had created but sold off, these two get together and they just talk about their company. You can ask them all kinds of questions. He would be a great guy to ask questions to. He's doing his blabs pretty regularly, and he's in your space. And he's badass. He's written books that you would love to read, books on the subject, and books on building software and making software effective and stuff like that. He's like an inspiration to a lot of people in your industry. He would be a good mentor person to kind of look up to and kind of watch what he's doing. But he probably have better answers for these questions. So, but a converting free users to paying clients. The challenge is if you offer something for free, and I've used tons of different software tools. I've used some that are free, but I have no problem as a business owner paying for software. No problem. Like I've got tons of tools. I probably spend $3,000 a month in just various tools, right? I use Slack. I use CRMs. I use Google Apps, Hangouts. You know, I've got tons of different tools that I use. I use Breeze. You know, I use several different tools. So if your tool is good and you offer a free service, that's fine as long as it's sustainable. There needs to be some sort of upsell or thing that's making you money. Like I saw a tool that was pretty cool. It was a free live chat tool for websites. And how do they make their money? They offer like customer service reps to man their live chat. That's how they make their money. So it's like, how do you guys make money? Your tool's pretty decent. How do you make money? So you got to figure out like, how are you going to make money? If you're going to do something for free, there needs to be some sort of upsell that makes sense for people, that what they would want, or some missing piece of the puzzle that they need or they would want if they want to use it out in a serious way. But you give them the free version that's watered down, or gives them enough that it's useful that you can build a nice customer base, but you've got to figure out what do they really want and what would they be willing to spend money for. So I know nothing about your tool, so I'm just throwing out some really broad generalities. But and then if you have a certain number of paid people, and you're getting unpaid people, then you just need to figure out how to do more of that. If you've got a funnel or a system or something that's bringing in paid subscribers, then you just need to do more of that. Like once you figure out what works, you've split tested things and you're testing things, and turn it up, ramp it up. And get more. So I don't know if this answers your question. Does that answer your question at all?
It does. I mean, it's just a starting point. I'm trying to get all my thoughts together because it's something that I'm learning too. So it definitely helps.
You know what? Start interviewing some of the people that sign up. Just say, hey, I'd love to show, like I noticed you have this software, you haven't really used it. I was wondering if we could get together, I could do a screen share and just take you through it and see if this is relevant to you and your business and get your feedback. Just find people that look like they're badasses in business and go and get their feedback on it. And they'll shoot you down or pull you apart or make you feel bad or whatever, and you'll learn some things.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, the more feedback you get from your existing target group and target base, the other thing you can do is just ask them what they want. There's little survey tools that can pop up or whatever, or you can have little message things that pop up. Hey, if this software were a paid tool, like what would you be willing to pay to have? And you might get very small percentage response, but whatever you get should be useful. Right. They're telling you here's how to take my money. Just give me this additional feature or make it work this way and I'd pay for that. Ultimately, you got to figure out what they want. So it's their pain or their pleasure. What pain do they want to escape, and what pain does your tool solve, and what pleasure? And so that could be, and then that gives you good content or headlines or things to put on your website. First question they have when they go to your website is, what do you do? And what's in it for me? That's their question. Does this help me? How does this help me? What's the benefit? And then mimic some of these companies like Optimizely or Shopify or some of these people that are kind of in that space and see what they're doing well. So, all right. Any other questions? SnapRecruit Vic?
I think that those were a couple of the questions that I had. But
all right.
Well, it sucks that I couldn't show my face, but I'll try to fix my.
Yeah, get a face and put a name on here. I don't know. SnapRecruit is your company brand, but if you're going to be hanging out on Blab, you may want to get like your own personal sort of Twitter account on here.
Cool.
Start building relationships, man. Maybe you'll become buddies with Jason over at Basecamp.
And you said, what's his last name? Fried or
Fried? Yeah, Fried. Yeah, you'll see him on there.
All right, buddy.
He's always like on the homepage. He's one of the big fish on here. So cool. All right, I'll pop you off. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye.
Cool. All right. Who wants to hop into the hot seat? Your biggest business challenge solved right now, maybe. Who knows? Sometimes you just need somebody else to look at the challenge from the outside perspective. All right. Drew posted a question. I sat down at my first sales meeting at a local newspaper company. It was amazing to see how sales and marketing didn't get together. How do we bridge the gap between marketing and sales if this is answerable? All right. Drew, do you want to pop in here and we'll chat about this? Drew. All right. Mohammed, if you have a question, go ahead and post it on the side and we'll get to you. Just type /Q if you have a question, guys. And anybody watching this, if you would be so kind, go ahead and tweet and post to see if we can get some more people in here for the next little bit and put this out here. I think there's some good knowledge, that some of these people are squeezing out of my brain. Might be useful to some other people. All right, so Drew, can you hear me? He's coming in here little by little. Oh, I've got little people knocking at my door here. Drew, can you hear me? I hear a little static, but maybe your mic might not be working. You might need to click the camera thing at the top. No? Drew? No dice? Okay, Drew. It's not working for you, man. You'll need to post your question, but I'll go ahead and answer your question if you can hear me. Give you a sec. All right, so I sat down at my first sales meeting at a local newspaper company. It was amazing to see how sales. So I think Drew, are you talking about departments? Like the departments at this newspaper that you work at are like, there's a lot of segregation and there's a gap between the two departments? Yes. Okay. So there's two types of ways businesses can run. One is departments and one is by like role or, there's lots, well, I guess there's lots of ways, but so in businesses where the departments are separate, a lot of times, sometimes they even end up at war with each other, right? I worked at this company once called, back in the days, technology company, and we had basically there was billing, which was the money people, and then there was the tech support or the tech crew, and I was kind of king of that group, and the two were always kind of at odds, right? And billing wanted us to do some of their job, and we didn't want to, and whatever, right? So sales and marketing. The challenge with sales departments sometimes being segregated, I've noticed in companies that I've purchased from, like Infusionsoft, for example. Some of the problems is that can you guys hear? I've got a 3-year-old outside my door saying, "Dad, hey, Edla, I'm hanging out on a Blab right now. Go check with Mom." So, but one of the things is to make sure that in sales that you have, maybe I better get going on my Blab here. So, but I think the biggest thing is when bridging the gap between departments, you have to figure out what they both want. This goes back to relevancy again. You need to get clear on what both of these people want and tie these two together so that it's relevant. But really, I mean, each department has their own goals and their own outcomes, and there might be some things that align with each other. So, cool. Well, I think that's going to be my last question for the day because I've got a 3-year-old that wants my attention. She discovered that I was missing, so now I'm going to be hanging out. But hopefully you got some value out of this conversation. Make sure to follow me here on Blab, and I'll be popping on here. Thanks, King Jason Hull, for your insight. You bet. And get your mic fixed. You can find me at openpotion.com, doorgrow.com. I'll put if you're interested in having some conversations either about your business or about your website or sales or leveling up, there's just schedule a 15-minute call with me and we'll see where it goes. We'll see if it makes sense to have a longer conversation or not. So, so I've got my link there in the chat, but it's just meetme.so/Jason Hull. Or if you go to openpotion.com or doorgrow.com, there's a schedule link at the top right. And I also have Gather Kudos. Care to send your low-end web clients you don't to work with to us? I don't know. I don't know you. So right now the answer is no. So anyway, I'm done, and appreciate everybody popping in here on my instant little blab. Thanks.